Hello everyone, this is Wasim from Edureka and I welcome you all to this session where I will show you a few pattern programs in Python. So let's take a look at the agenda for this session. First of all, I will start with star pattern programs, and the patterns include pyramid, half pyramid, hourglass, diamond shape patterns, etc. Moving further, I will discuss pattern program with numbers. So instead of asterisk, we'll be using the numerical values in the patterns. And finally, I will explain a few pattern programs with characters or alphabets in them. I hope you are clear with the agenda. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Edureka for more exciting tutorials and press the bell icon to get the latest updates from Edureka. Now, without wasting any more time, let's take a look at the star pattern programs that I will explain in this session. So I'm going to start with star pattern programs, in which I'm going to show you how you can play with the concept and make other patterns like half pyramid, triangle, hourglass pattern, diamond pattern, and inverted pyramid patterns as well. So let's take it up to Jupyter Notebook and I'll show you how you can make star pattern programs, and we are going to start with the simple pyramid program first. So now we are in the Jupyter Notebook, guys. I'm going to start with the simple pyramid program. So I'll write pyramid over here, and in this I'm going to take one function and I'll name it as pattern, and inside this I'm going to pass n because this is going to be our number of lines which I want in the pattern. And for blank spaces I'm going to take one variable, that is k. I'll show you what it does. And we're going to use a lot of for loops inside this. So if you're not familiar with loops in Python, I suggest you to check out other tutorials on Edureka for loops in Python so that you will be able to understand this better. And I'm going to take one for loop here for I in. This is going to be the loop for our outer rows. So I'm going to take this as range 0 to n. And I'm going to take one more loop which is for j in range, and this is going to be our loop for columns, and I'm going to take this as k over here. Now I'm going to print some blank spaces over here. So for this I'm going to write this n is equal to, and after this I have to decrement the value of k, and I'm going to take one more for loop. Inside this I'm going to specify the range 0 to I plus 1, because we are going to move in the forward direction while printing the pattern that we have. So inside this I'm going to print the asterisk pattern, which is the star pattern also, and n is equal to this. Now one more important point, you have to print \r or \n in order to get the pattern right. I'll show you what happens if you don't do that. Now we're done with the pattern function over here. I'll just call pattern, and inside this I'll specify 5, and when I run this I'm getting a pattern which is a pyramid pattern. So instead of \n, if I write \r, the pattern will look something like this. And if I just comment this statement, let's look at the output that varies. So we're getting the output somewhat like this. If you want to get your pattern right, you're gonna have to write it like this. And this is how you can make a simple pyramid pattern program in Python. So you can see this. This is the variable that I was talking about to specify the spaces. So what if I write it as, let's say, n minus 2? The output will move to the left side. And if I write it as n, look at this. So this is what happens when you play with the spaces over here. So I'll just write it as 2 into n minus 2. So we are getting the pattern somewhat like this. So instead of 5, if I write 10 over here, I'll be getting a much more bigger pattern with a pyramid shape. And this is how we can write a simple pyramid pattern. So let's take a look at the next program that we have, which is the inverse pyramid. So by now I think you have got the idea of how we are doing this. So for printing the inverse pyramid, we are going to go from back to the starting. So we'll start with this one first, and we'll go in the backward direction so that we'll get 1 in the end. So we'll get the inverse pyramid then. So let's take a look at how we're going to do that. I'll just take a function like I have done before, and inside this I'm going to specify the space as well, which is 2 into n minus 2. And now I'm going to take a for loop. So for I in range, this is where the magic happens, guys. You have to specify n over here because we're going to the backward direction, and minus 1, and okay, we'll take this step as minus 1 as well. And if you're not familiar with range functions, please do check out the other tutorials on Edureka for better understanding, guys. We have a full video on a range function as well, and I'll take another for loop for columns as well. So in this I'm going to go with the backward direction as well. Step is going to be minus 1, and now I have to print n is equal to this. Now I have to specify a increment in the k variable because we're going in the backward direction. I'm going to take one more for loop, and for j in range this time we are going to go with the normal flow, which is I plus 1, and in this I'm going to print my asterisk, and after this I have to just print the backslash r so that my output will not be distorted and it will print a perfect pattern. So when I call my function pattern over here, and let's just say I write it as 10. Okay, I have an invalid syntax over here, sorry guys. We're getting an inverse pattern right here. So in this you can see the output is towards right. So what I'll do is I'll just remove this and you'll see the output is just like the other one, the pyramid, and we are getting the inverse pyramid right now. So the approach that I followed was I was starting from the end, which I got over here, and I got back to the backward direction, and in the end I'm getting the 1 star. So this is how you write a simple program for inverse pyramid. Let's take a look at the next pattern that we have, which is a right start pattern program. So we are going to follow the same approach right here. Let me just write right start pattern. So in this I'm going to follow the same approach. I will specify a function pattern. Inside this I'll specify n, and now what I'll do is I'll just write for I in range 0 to n, for j in range 0 and I plus 1 that we have written before as well. Now what I'll do is I'll print my asterisk. Can any of you guess right now which pattern I'm going to make? Because I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with the pattern right start pattern. It's going to be looking like a triangle, but mention in the comments if you had guessed right. I'll specify one more outer rows function because we're going to get fairly unique pattern in there. So we need two outer loops for rows and two outer loops for columns as well. So I in the range, I'm going to specify the range as n, 0 and -1. The step is going to be -1, and inside this I'm going to specify for j in range 0, and we're going to follow the same approach, that is I plus 1. After this I'm going to print asterisk again, and is equal to this, print backslash r. Don't forget the backslash r, guys. So if you have any problems in your pattern, just look at the print statement where you have specified backslash r. Now when I call my function pattern over here, I'll specify 10 again. Okay, I'm getting the pattern somewhat like this. Okay, we're not getting the output as I had expected, so I'll just do one thing. Instead of 0 over here, I'll specify -1. So when I run it again, I'm getting the perfect right start pattern. So this is how you write a program for a right start pattern in Python. And let's take a look at the next program that we have, which is a left start pattern. So for this, I'm going to take pattern again, specify n, and after this, I'm going to take one variable for spaces because we're going towards the left side. So what I'll do is I'll just write k is equal to 2 into n minus 2. And again, I'll take a loop for outer rows. And inside this, I'll specify the range as 0 and n minus 1. For the columns, I will take for j in range 0 to k, print end is equal to this because we want some blank spaces over there, and I will decrement the value of k by k minus 2. You can modify these values for k and all these range functions as well according to your pattern. Whichever pattern you're making, do experiment with these values so that you will understand how it's working. So I'll take one more for loop for columns again. So j in range, this time the range is going to be 0 and I plus 1. And can any of you guess right now? I'm going to print the asterisk over here, which is going to be in my pattern. Again, this is going to be n is equal to this. And over here, I need to print backslash r so that my output will not look distorted. And again, I have to get the value of k right. So I'll write k is equal to k minus 1. Now I have to take one more outer loop for outer rows. So for I in range, just like we did in the other program, Okay, I'll show you why we are taking two different outer rows. So I'm printing a half pyramid until here, and after this I'm going in the backward direction like this. So instead of doing this, I'm going to print some blank spaces as well. So I'll be printing backspaces until here, and then my actual program will start. So this is why I'm taking two loops over here. So I'll just specify n minus 1, minus 1, and minus 1 for the step as well. And after this, I'm going to take one more loop for columns. And inside this, I'll specify minus 1 and step as minus 1 as well. I'm going to print n is equal to spaces, decrement the value or increment the value because we are going to go in the backward direction in this loop. And again, for j in range 0, I plus 1. And after this, I'm going to print asterisk n is equal to this and print backslash r. Now when I call my pattern again, say 10. Okay, I have invalid syntax for j in range. Okay, I think I have made a mistake over here, so I'll just check my code again. Okay, I'll make this as minus 1 and move it a little further. So I'm getting my pattern right there, which is a left start pattern. So this is how you can write a program for left start pattern in Python. And now let's take a look at the next program that we have, which is a hourglass pattern program. So for hourglass pattern, I'm going to print a pyramid pattern, and on top of that, I'm going to print a inverse pyramid so that it will look like an hourglass. So let's take a look at how I'm going to write that. So I'll take one pattern function again, specify n, and I'll just go with the variables for spaces, and then for outer rows I have a loop in which I am taking the range as n minus 1 and step is minus 1 as well. Okay, I have made a syntax error. And now for columns, for j in range, I'm going to take the range as k 0 and minus 1. Okay, we'll do one thing, guys. I know for sure that we need an inverse pyramid, so I'll just take this code, copy this, and over here I'll just print this code. So when I call pattern now, say 5, I'm getting an inverse pyramid. So now I'm going to take the code for pyramid pattern over here, and I'm going to paste this after this. This goes here. So this is my hourglass pattern, guys. Okay, we have a little distorted hourglass. So in our inverse pyramid, we're getting the 6 rows, and in this pyramid we are getting only 5 rows. So what I'm going to do is I'll just specify this as 0 and n minus 1. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to take it as n plus 1. So now we're getting a perfect hourglass pattern, and this is how you can write hourglass pattern in Python, guys. All you have to do is understand how it works, and after that you can just play with the numbers and the spaces, and you can make any pattern that you want. So now that we are done with the hourglass pattern, let's take a look at a half pyramid pattern that we have in Python. So it's very easy, guys. I'll just take one pattern function, specify n over here, and in this I'm going to just write for I in range whatever number that you want. So I'll just write 0 to n, and for j in range, the range is going to be 0 and I plus 1, and I'm just going to print my number over here, and inside this my asterisk and is equal to this, and again I have to specify a backslash r. Now when I call my pattern function, specify let's say 10. Okay, we have a syntax error again, I'm sorry, guys. And this is my half pyramid pattern, or we can call it a right triangle pattern as well. So this is how you can make a half pyramid pattern in Python, guys. So let me show you how you can make a left pyramid pattern. For that you have to just add a simple code in which you have to specify the spaces like we have done in the other programs also. So I'll just copy the whole code, paste it over here, and for spaces, okay, I'll have to take a variable k for spaces, and inside this I'm just going to specify 2 and minus 2. And after this I have to take one more outer rows loop, and inside this I'm going to take the range as it's going to go in the direction 0 to n. And for j in range, now this is where k comes into picture, and I'm just going to print the spaces that I want. So I think we're done. I have to decrement the value of k as well. So when I call my pattern now, just say 5. Okay, we are getting a different value here. I think I made a mistake, guys. Let me check the code again. Okay, I think I've got the error, guys. So let me just comment this line and see if our output changes at all. It doesn't. And this one as well. So now we're getting the left half pyramid pattern, guys. So I had made a silly mistake. So I was taking 2 loops for outer rows. Instead, I just have to take 1. So let me just make it as 10 so that it will be better looking. So this is how you can make a left half pyramid pattern in Python, guys. Now let's take a look at the next program, which is a downward half pyramid. So we are going to go from this line to that line in a reverse order, so that we'll get a downward half pyramid. So we'll follow the same thing. We'll take a function, specify n over here, and now what I'll do is I'll write for I in range. Range is going to be downward direction, so it's going to be -1 and -1 again. And for j in range, this is going to be the same, I plus 1. Since we are not getting any left pattern, we're just going to print the asterisk over here, and is equal to this, print \r. Now when I call my pattern function, let's see what pattern I'm getting over here. I'm getting a downward half pyramid pattern like this. And if you want to make it a left downward pyramid pattern, you just have to follow this approach, in which you have to specify range and get this variable k and decrement the value, and you will get the same output as you're getting over here. Now let's take a look at the next topic, or the next program, which is diamond pattern. Diamond pattern in Python. So for this, I'm just going to take pattern again, and after this I'll specify the spaces 2 into n minus 2 again. For I in range, I'm going to take the range as 0 to n, and again I'm going to take the columns, which is going to be in the range 0 to k. I'm going to print the spaces, and after this decrement the value of k. Now again I'll take one more loop for columns, which is going to be in the range 0 and I plus 1, and I'm going to print asterisk again for my pattern, and is equal to this, and after this I'm just going to print the \r. Now let me just call my pattern function and see what happens over here. I'm getting the pattern like this. To make it a diamond shaped pattern, I'll have to make an inverse pyramid on the downward direction so that it will look like a diamond. So I'll take one more for loop. For that I have to specify the k value again. So for this I'm going to take n minus 2, because if I take 2n minus 2, it will look a little distorted. I'll show you that as well. So I'll take the for loop for I in range. Now we're going in the downward direction, so it will be n minus 1, and step is going to be -1 as well. And for j in range, it's going to be k 0, and step is going to be -1. Now in this I'm going to print n is equal to this, print the \r for j in range. Now it's going to be 0 and I plus 1. Again I'll print my asterisk value over here, and is equal to this, print the \r. So now that we are done with the function, I'll just print this. Okay, we are getting a very distorted image. I'll take a look at what we are doing wrong over here. Okay, we have this one. So for this I have to specify k is equal to k plus 1, and as you can see we are getting the diamond shaped pattern over here. And let me show you, if I take the value of k as 2 into n minus 1 or n minus 2, the pattern looks somewhat like this. To make it better, I have to make it as 2n, and minus 2 should be gone. Or I'll have to make a few changes over here to make it align to the downward pattern. So what I'll do is I'll just remove 2 over here, and it will look like a diamond shaped pattern right now. So now that we are done with this one also, I'll show you a diamond star pattern. So there is a different approach to this, a diamond pattern that I'm going to show you right now. So first I'll write the code and then I'll explain how I've made this. So for I in range, I'm going to specify the range as 5, and for j in range, it's going to be 5 as well. Now what I'll do is if I plus j or I minus j is equal to 2, or I plus j is equal to 6, or j minus I is equal to 2. So this is my condition, guys. I have put it all in the if statement. I'm going to print my asterisk and n is equal to this, else print n is equal to this. I think I made a mistake over here. Let me just take a look at the code again. So when I print this, I'm going to get the value as this. So this is a star, diamond star pattern. So what I've done here is you have to look at the picture over here. So if you take a look at the rows and columns, there's going to be 0, 1, 2, and 3. And you have to, identify the pattern in which you can make a statement like this. So for all these values, I'm printing this one. So wherever we have a asterisk over here, it's going to satisfy this statement over here. Only then it's going to print this value. So this is how you can make a diamond star pattern in Python, guys. So now that we are done with the star pattern programs, let's take a look at the number pattern program. So instead of asterisk, we will have a numerical value in the patterns, and we will start with a simple numbers program. I'm just going to take one function, that is pattern, and again I'll just write for I in range. The range is going to be 0 to n, and after this I'll have a variable, but before that I have to specify it over here. So let's say x is equal to 0, and inside this I'm going to increment this x by 1. Now comes my program, guys. So for columns, for j in a range, I'm going to get the value as 0 and I plus 1, just like before. And inside this, instead of asterisk, I'm going to print x and is equal to this. Or because we don't have spaces over here, I'll just write space. Now I'll have to specify a \r statement and take, okay, we'll just call our function over here. So we're getting pattern somewhat like this. I'll just make it as, let's say, 7. So we're getting the pattern with numbers, which is 1, then there is 2, 2, then there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and until 7. This is a very simple pattern for numbers. Let's take a look at a Pascal's triangle pattern, guys. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with Pascal's triangle. So I'll just write the code for Pascal's triangle, and inside this specify n. Again, I'll have to take for I in range 0 to n. For j in range 0, I plus 1, and inside this I'm going to print my function, which is I and j, comma this, and end is equal to this. And after this I'll just print. Now I have to take one more function, guys. So my function is function, and inside this I have n and k. So my result is equal to 1. This is the logic for Pascal's triangle, guys. So I have made the function for my pattern. Now I'm just writing the code for Pascal's triangle logic. So if k is greater than n minus k, k is equal to n minus k. For I in range 0 to k, result is equal to result into n minus I, and result is equal to result floor division I plus 1, return result. So now when I call my pattern function, specify not 10, let's say 7. So this is my Pascal's triangle, guys. So basically what happens in a Pascal's triangle, if you take a look at this one, so some of these two numbers is going to be over here, and similarly for later purposes, some of these two numbers is going to be here and these two numbers here. So this is how the Pascal's triangle will go on, and for let's say 10 it will look something like this, and for let's say 20 it will look something like this. So this is how you can make a Pascal's triangle pattern in Python, guys. It's a very simple pattern. I've given you the logic also to get the third summation over here in this position. So this is how you can make a pattern for Pascal's triangle in Python. Let's take a look at a half pyramid pattern with numbers, guys. So I just showed you a half pyramid pattern, guys. It's right here. So I'll just copy this code again, paste it over here. So we're getting, when I call my pattern function, let's say 10, I'm getting a half pyramid. So what I'll do is I'll just write x is equal to, let's say, 0. And after this, I'll just mention x is equal to x plus 1. And instead of asterisk, I'll print x, give a space over here. And we're getting the values as 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, like that. But instead of that, we can also make a diamond pattern with numbers as well. So we'll just copy the code again with this one. Okay, I'll just show you over here only. So instead of asterisk, I'm going to print x, and I'll specify x over here. X is equal to 0, and over here x is equal to x plus 1. Same here, I'll have to do x is equal to 0, x is equal to x plus 1. Okay, we have made a mistake, guys, and we have to change x over here as well. Give it a space. We'll not do this for 10, let's say do it for 7. And this is how you get a diamond pattern with numbers, guys. So you just have to change the values inside all these patterns that I've shown you, and you can play around with numbers and make different patterns as well. Now let me show you one more program with numbers. So I'm going to show you how you can make a descending order pattern. So it's very easy, guys. I'll just make one function with the same approach, and for I in range, I'm going to take the range as n, 0 and -1. And again for j in range 1, and I'm going to take I plus 1 again. I'm going to print j and end it with space, print \r, call my pattern function, specify 5 over here, and you can look at this. We're getting the descending order pattern. So first of all, we have 5 numbers, then we have 4, then we have 3, 2 and 1. Similarly, we can do this for 10 as well. For any amount of numbers, you can make this as a descending order pattern, which is also a downward half pyramid pattern as well. So now that we are done with this one, let's take a look at a binary number pattern program, guys. Out of all these numbers, we are just going to use 0 and 1. So what I'll do is I'll take one function pattern, and inside this I'll take the range as for I in range 0 to n. Okay, I forgot to take that variable. K is equal to 2 into n minus 2. After this, for j in range, it's going to be 0 to k. And after this, I'll print the blank spaces, and it's equal to this. K is equal to k minus 1. For j in range 0 and I plus 1, I'm going to print 1 and 0. So instead of asterisk, I've just written 1 and 0. So it's going to print a binary number program. So basically what happens over here is we're just getting the output as 0 and 1. So you can use any characters. Instead of 0 and 1, you can use 2 and 3, and you can use just 2 or 4 or 5 or any number that you want. And we're getting the value somewhat like this. So this is a pyramid pattern with just binary number, that is 0, 1, and this is how you can make number patterns in Python. And now that we are done with number pattern programs, let's take a look at character pattern programs. Instead of numerical values, we will have a character value inside the program, and there is a little more change. You cannot just mention x, some variable, or just like that. You have to make sure that you're changing it to a integer value, the character number. So first of all, let me show you the pattern for right alphabetical triangle. So what I'll do is I'll take function, name in that pattern, take n over here. So I'll take the variable x as 65 now. because 65 is the ASCII value for A. So for I in range 0 to n, and I'm going to take one more variable ch, and I'm going to change this x into the character variable. Now x is equal to x plus 1. It's easy for me now. For j in range 0 I plus 1, I can just print ch, call pattern program. Okay, let's just name it as 10. Okay, we have an invalid syntax over here. So this is how I'm getting my pattern. So it's starting from A and going until J because I have specified 10 over here. Let's say I want it as 25. So we're going until Y, and if I do it like 26, we're getting the whole alphabetical pattern with A to Z in a triangle pattern. So this is a very simple example, guys. So I'm going to show you a character pyramid program as well. So I'll take this same approach, specify a function pattern n over here, and inside this I'll take the value of 2 n minus 1 or n minus 2 for I in range 0 to n. Okay, I forgot to take the x. Now over here for j in range 0 to k, print the blank space, decrement the value for k, and for j in range 0 and I plus 1. Now comes the ch or character variable in which I'm going to change the x into character. Now I'm going to print ch, n is equal to this, and x plus is equal to 1 because we have not done that. Now after this I'll just print my \r again. Now when I call my pattern function, let's see what I'm getting. So we're getting somewhat like this. Okay, so instead of 10, let's just take 7. So we're getting A, B, C, D, E, F, and this is how we are getting the values over here. So I have changed a little over here. So I was incrementing the value of x on the outer rows, but now I have incremented the value in the columns as well. So we're getting A, B, C, D, E, F like that. Otherwise we'll be getting like A, B, B, C, 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 D, and so on. So this is a simple change that I've done in this program so that you will be understanding better. So let's take a look at the next pattern that we have, which is a K-shape character program. So I'm going to print the pattern in the shape of a K using the asterisk again. So I've shown you that diamond star pattern in which I have taken a if statement. So if that statement is satisfied, it's going to print a K-shape pattern, which is going to look like a K shape with asterisks in them. So I'll just write the code for this. So for I in range, let's see 7, and for j in range 7 again. So this is where the code begins, and I'm going to specify if j is equal to 0 or I minus j is equal to 3 or I plus j is equal to 3 again. I'm going to print asterisk, or instead of asterisk I'm just going to print a over here, and end is equal to this, else I'm going to print n is equal to this, and now print. So we're getting the value somewhat like this. So this character actually looks like K-shaped character. So instead of A, I'll just write asterisk again so that you'll be understanding better. So this looks like a K-shaped character program using Python, and this is how you can make a K-shaped character program in Python. So let's take a look at one more pattern here, which is a triangle pattern program. So I'll just specify a function again, specify n over here, take k is equal to 2 into n minus 2 again, x is equal to 65 for I in range 0 to n, and ch is equal to character x, x plus 0 is equal to 1. Now for j in range 0 to k, I am going to print blank spaces, and and for j in range 0 to I plus 1, I am going to print ch and n is equal to this, print backslash r, and when I call my pattern function, I'm getting the value like this. So this is how I make a simple triangle pattern. So let's take a look at the last pattern that I have in this session, which is a diamond shape pattern with characters. So we'll just copy this code again. Okay, this is my diamond pattern. So I'll just copy this whole code. And over here, I'll just paste this. When I run this, I'm getting the pattern somewhat like this. So instead of numbers, I want characters. So what I'll do is, I already have x over here. So I'll mention x as 65. And over here, I'll take ch is equal to character x. And instead of x, we'll write ch. Let's see how the pattern unfolds. So we're going to follow the same approach over here as well. So x is going to be 65. And we have ch is equal to character x, and instead of x we'll write ch. Now when I print my pattern, so I'm going to take this to another level, so I'll just write 15. So this is my diamond shade pattern using characters, guys. So I've shown you all these pattern programs with numbers, in which I've shown you pyramid patterns, Pascal's triangle, diamond pattern. With characters, I have shown you a diamond pattern, then I've shown you a K-shaped character program as well. So this brings us to the end of the tutorial, guys. If you have any questions, you can mention them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Edureka for more exciting tutorials. And also press the bell icon to get the latest updates from Edureka. Thank you.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!